This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Mr. Nguyen. And guess what? Mr. Nguyen is running for a seat in the House in the state of Virginia. So we want to welcome him back to the show. Thank you very much for coming back.
Thank you very much, Frank, for having me here.
Yes.
I enjoy being on the show with you.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Now tell us, why are you the best candidate to represent the District 67 in Virginia, and how the campaign is doing?
Well, I'm the best candidate because I'm new, I'm fresh, and
well, you got something to offer in addition to those two.
Most definitely, as a business person, I'm about results.
Results.
And over the years, I've been a nonprofit leader, and with nonprofit, you don't work partisanship. You just only work the issues, and you focus on results. And so one of the reasons I'm running is there's a lot of traffic in the 67th district. It's the most congested.
So transportation is one of the issues.
Transportation is one of the issues. And so obviously when people are stuck in traffic, they can't get to work on time, they can't spend quality time with their family, they can't go to prayer services. And so
what are you going to do to ease the traffic congestion?
Well, two of the areas I'm focused primarily on right now is Stringfellow and Route 50 to ease those congestions, because right now people are talking about Route 28 and 66 creating a new construction site there. But my thought is very simple. Let's finish the other two before we create another big roadblock. The other component that I bring to this is I'm very strong on education. As an immigrant, I'm only successful because of the opportunities in education. I know a lot of folks.
America has provided you the letter of opportunity to succeed, and that's because of education.
Education is our pathway to success.
So what about the pre-K education? Are you talking about the higher education as well as the pre-K, both?
All the above. So we have to start at pre-K. I support universal pre-K, so that way our children start at kindergarten with the same level versus having a gap, achievement gap already.
So do you think we should have a partnership between the state and federal government?
Definitely.
Like the President Obama talked about it?
We should always have partnerships.
To create the 21st century workforce?
We have to, because again, if we do not have the folks who are focused on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and even health, then we will not have that career future workforce that are going to be the driving force in our economy here in Northern Virginia. I mean, there's not going to be any workers for it.
So why is this so important to you?
This is
important not to you, but to the people, to the state of Virginia, to the people of Virginia. That's what you're doing. It is not all about you.
It's not about me. It is about the voters, because
we have a lot of,
it's about the voters and the people. So I'm running to represent. I'm not running to be a politician. I'm running to represent my district. And my district is about getting things done. And very honestly, part of the thing that makes me different is I'm willing to sit at Starbucks or coffee shops or wherever with my with my constituents to learn what the issues are. And so that way we get things done on a local level. I don't really care about Richmond. I don't really care about another part of Virginia. Obviously, I have to work with them. Yeah. I have to work with partnerships with our congressional leaders, but it's about getting results for the district.
So you're going to take the people's pulse?
I am. I have to, because I'm running to represent the people.
Okay. So what's at stake in this election?
What is at stake is, one, the gubernatorial election is very important. And also the House of Delegates, because this is the year when whoever comes in is going to decide the budget for the next 2 to 4 years. It's going to decide whether we pay more taxes or not. And here's the problem. This is an off-year election. One, Frank, a lot of people don't realize that there is an election this year on November the 5th. So the turnout's going to be very low. So if people want to really have a say, they have to get involved this year, because every vote counts. And I would recommend, if you don't want to show up on November the 5th, do absentee balloting right now. Right now you can Google online and Virginia absentee ballot, and it takes you to the state website. You fill out the form, because most of the folks who live in the district or even live in other parts of Northern Virginia work in Washington, D.C., and you know traffic's horrendous. We spend a lot of time. We spend about 67 hours on average in traffic each year here in Northern Virginia. That's almost 2 weeks of vacation.
Now, Mr. Nguyen, you have a passion, you have a commitment, you're ready to engage to the people, which is a very good thing to do. Those are noble things to do. And you're young, you're vibrant, you're resilient. And fact of the matter is, what do you have that your opponent do not have that will allow you to win?
Well, one, I understand our communities.
You understand your community?
I am an immigrant. I understand our communities. I'm Vietnamese
but you represent
American.
all America, just not the Asian American, but all America.
We're all Americans. So I am Vietnamese American. My wife is Korean American. We're all Americans, but we bring unique nuances to the flavor. Whether you call it a salad bowl, the soup, whatever, we bring something good to this. You know, And so we have some nuances, and we also have the experiences of our communities that makes us stronger. We're all here because of the American dream. But if, so that motivates us, because sometimes people have forgotten what the American dream is. Our entrepreneurship, our endeavor to work hard.
And the family. And the family. And that's very important as part of South Asian. Right.
We do this all for our family and all for our children and for our future. And so that's what's very important. And because we come from tight-knit families, we have to keep those cultural perspectives, because at the end, it's all about family. And in community, it's all about our community. So we have to that's our extended family.
Okay, so when we spoke last time when you were here, I think it was in July. Since then, what have you done in order for you to increase your visibility to the people in your district, as well as to campaign actively so that they would think of you when they go to the voting booth?
Well, I've been doing a lot of things. The last several weeks, I've been going to back-to-school nights, handing out flyers to everybody that walks by me. I'm handing them a flyer and said, "Hi, I'm running for House of Delegates." I've been going to a lot of different chamber meetings with different Chamber of Commerces, meeting with Asian Americans, Loudoun County Chamber of Commerce, a whole lot of groups. I've also been going to a lot of prayer services, attended Iftar and Eid services, gone to prayer.
What about the churches?
And I've gone to the churches, reaching out to the Korean American churches, reaching out to everybody, because this is about representing everybody. And so I've been going to a lot of cultural fairs too, whether it's Korean American, the Mid-Autumn Festival with Chinese and Vietnamese, or going to the Afghani Festival in Washington, D.C. I've been going to a lot of festivals just to say, "Hi, my name is Hung Nguyen and I'm running to represent you."
So who's your opponent?
Do I really have to mention his name?
No, you don't.
Okay.
But, let me ask you these questions. Obviously, the state of Virginia is not quite blue.
No, it isn't.
It's not quite red either. So what I call a purple state. It's a battleground state, and it's going to be it's very important. It's going to be 2014, 2016. So to tell me that you said you have some discriminators in terms of against your opponent, in terms of the fact that you're reaching out to the communities, you want to be part of the fabric of the society. Society means including the social, economic, and political fabric of society, and you bring that South Asian culture, which is the family, which is the STEM educations. So my question is, what other outreach are you doing in order for you to reach out to all Americans?
Well, I'm going to football games on Friday nights. Passing stuff out, that's an American sport. So it's a debate between whether baseball or football is the American sport, but we're going to these events with volunteers, again, to pass out literature. We're going door to door, knocking on door to doors to meet with my neighbors and talking to them about why I'm a better candidate. Sometimes it's a quick 30 seconds conversation.
Are you welcome there?
I am welcomed, at least when they open the door, I am welcomed. The conversation could be 30 minutes to 5 minutes. I mean, not 30 minutes, but 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Sometimes the doors, people peek out the window, but they don't open the door, which is understandable. But again, we're making the effort to reach out.
Well, I mean, that's important. You're making an effort to engage the public, to be well informed, to involve them as a part of the process, which is this is what the democracy is all about. The democracy and the politics define the landscape of America. That's how the capitalism grows and the democracy flourishes.
It completely is, and as I meet folks, I'll tell you very honestly, I hand the flyer to folks, and sometimes they talk and engage, sometimes they're reticent, and I tell them, look, here's my website. You have an opinion of what you want me to do, email me and tell me what you want me to do if you don't want to talk right now. So you talk about the Asian American constituents, and what are the issues they have that you are going to be the champion of those issues if you're elected? Well, education is the #1 topic that gets brought up.
And that includes the higher education, pre-K education,
that is
and
across the
K-12.
board, because it's very simple. Universal pre-K, STEM education for K to 12. Also making sure that children have better opportunities in colleges, because the tuition in colleges are going up.
Extremely. And there's a lot of burden on the students because
it
of the reduced financial assistance as well as increased tuition.
Correct. Well, here's the reverse too. Once a person graduates, there's not enough jobs around for them right now. Because of either their studies or because of the economy. So even though we get through the educational system, there's no jobs at the end. And so we have to work at this from a whole entire life cycle perspective, not just pick and choose.
So what's your thought in terms of public-private partnership to create today's students for tomorrow's jobs?
we have
do you have-
we have to have public-private partnerships. I know you're a businessman yourself, and so educational systems like George Mason University and Nova have been working with different companies, especially in the STEM areas, to provide internships for their students, also to provide programs for teachers in the middle school to high school level to actually work with companies to kind of experience what is it to be in a STEM job. So that way they have a different, unique perspective so that they can bring back to their students and say, this is what you do. And so those private-public partnerships have to be there. The reality is we don't have the budget for everything also, but we also have a lot of great companies, capabilities, and nonprofits who can provide resources that blends in with our public institutions to make things better.
Now, if you're looking at the audience over here, Mr. Nguyen, how would you engage them, the South Asian community, the Korean community, the Indian American, the Pakistan, the community goes on, and Americans,
yes, correct.
and all the Americans, all the faces of Americans. What do you want them to do to help you to win this election?
Well, very simply, I want you to vote on November the 5th. And if you cannot vote on November the 5th, vote right now. Go absentee ballot right now. That is very critical.
And how did they get the absentee ballot?
So just very simply Google Virginia absentee ballot, go to the state website, fill out the form, and absentee ballot will be sent to you. You complete it, you send it in, and then they will send a ballot to you. You check off. Hopefully you'll vote for me or whomever else, and then you send it back in. It's that simple because most folks work and drive long hours. So again, Google absentee ballot Virginia and go to the state website and fill out the form, get it sent to you. And really, if folks want to volunteer to understand what democracy is all about, I invite you to visit my website, www.nguyenfordelegate.com. Again, www.nguyenfordelegate.com, and
Can you spell the win?
Nguyen, the number 4, delegate.com, and volunteer with me to really understand what it's like to go door knocking, to make phone calls, to ask for money. I'm telling folks, give me $5 because that's the price of a cup of coffee. If democracy and education is important to us, we have to bring me in because what makes me different than other candidates is that I understand our community. I am one of us. I came here as an immigrant. I studied. I'm a businessman right now, and it's very difficult at times, but we can do it, and we have to show our children and our young people that we can do it and the pathway to success. And so that's what I bring to this. I bring a fresh breath air, and I bring a very pragmatic experience.
So what are the challenges, Mr. Nguyen, you're facing in this election?
Well, I'm very simply low voter turnout.
That's number one. What about the money?
The money right now,
the three things you need in an election: money, messaging, and mobility.
Correct. And right now, I need money. So if you're willing to give $5, if you're willing to give $1,000, come to my website, www.nguyen, the number 4, delegate.com, and support me. Because you know why? It's not just about supporting me. I want to support folks that I know like Anish Chopra. So that way, next time when Anish runs, we are there. We have the infrastructure to support great people like Anish Chopra to be in elected office, to represent all Virginians.
Oh, that's the best way to say it. So if you're elected, and and I hope you do.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, you're passionate, you're committed, and you embody American dream, and you have the skills and experience and the knowledge to take your district to the next level, to the next step. So if you go, what are the important issues that you will focus when you go to Richmond, which is the state capital of Virginia, when you're elected?
Well, the main...
If you're elected.
When I'm elected, not if. When I am elected.
All right, let's
when I am elected. When I'm elected November the 5th, my priority will be education, education, education. That is the foundation of everything.
Okay.
So, and then the next thing, though, is the economy. We have to have jobs, and we also have to be focused on small businesses in this economy.
What exactly would you do to reinvigorate the middle class as well as the small and medium-sized enterprises, which we call SME? What exactly would you do? What do you think the challenges they face in order for them to spread economic growth?
Well, right now in Northern Virginia, at least the district that I represent, a lot of companies are federal contractors. We need to diversify.
But as I understand, it's only 35% of the workforce. And is it really catered to the federal government?
I think it's still primarily catered towards the federal government right
now.
now.
That depends on your constituency. Obviously, they are more catered to the
so
federal
there's
government.
either employees...
So they're mostly dependent.
We're heavily dependent on the federal government.
So what would you do to diversify?
So for example, the area is known for its capital internet, except there's no signage, no branding. We're also, part of my district represents Loudoun County. And so that's entryway to wine country. So we need to focus on the hospitality.
Wine country?
Wine country. That's how I'm phrasing it. welcome to wine country, the entryway to wine country, because now, for example, as a business person who flies to Dulles Airport, who stays an extra day, instead of leaving at 5 o'clock, leaves at 9 o'clock Saturday morning, he now stays at a hotel an extra night, so he pays hotel taxes. He rents a car, he or she. They go out eating, and so they may go shopping. So now we're putting extra money into the economy from that. But what that helps is the car rental places, the hotel staff, the restaurants, who gets and the service waiters who gets extra tip. So you're actually helping a lot of other folks here in terms of middle class.
So how would you make this travel, the traveler that you're talking about, the one who flies from the Washington, Dallas, what incentive do you give them so they can stay around the Washington, Dallas area, do what you propose to do?
So obviously one is telling them that there is wine country here in Virginia. I mean, if you fly here and there's no marketing and you don't see any signage that tells you, or there's no signage that tells you home the internet and there's no hotspots where you can go to, because what is to prevent us from being the next Silicon Valley? We have an intellectual capital here. We have a lot of great entrepreneurs. We have a lot of space in our area to develop. What is preventing us?
Well, I think you have articulated extremely well, but the question that remains, so the diversification from the federal government workforce to the wine, to the commercial business, which could be telecommunications and so on and so forth. But what do you think the SME, which is small and medium-sized enterprises, which is the backbone of America, 95% of the Americans are the small businesses, as you probably know. They're the engine that drives our economy. What the challenges do they face, and what would you do to make sure that you can work with them to make sure that their challenges, that obstacles they have to grow the economy, to create a job, you will help them?
Well, I think one of the areas is access to capital.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Access to capital is very critical because unfortunately a lot of banks are not loaning.
Why are they not loaning? Especially the community bank, a smaller bank, and as you know, there was a bill that was passed by the Congress not too long ago. They're given a lot of money, so the community bank obviously didn't do a good job in terms of lending the money to the small businesses. Small businesses, they basically use their money to take care of what I consider their financial statement and so on and so forth, and they give money to stakeholders. So what would you do to make sure?
Well, one of the things that my opponent didn't vote for is a social, I believe is an innovation fund. The state can actually have an innovation fund where it's a capital fund that can assist small businesses. It's not going to be a lot of money, but that's where we can help good businesses infuse some capital so that way they grow and then they in turn also hire more folks. So I think that's part of the problem, that is a lot of companies that I know aren't growing right now. They're fearful because of the environment here. And many of them are also heavily dependent upon the other industry, which is the federal government. One way or another, we're heavily tied into the federal government. So the other thing I want us to focus on, because we have Dulles, we need to focus on our export capabilities, because the federal government through the Department of Commerce and also the state,
and also Export-Import Bank also.
Correct. And
USTR. USTR also.
And USTR, the trade agreement representative. But we haven't closed a lot of deals. We spent a lot of money commercial, advertising, but we have not closed a deal. And I think that's where we can help our small businesses, medium-sized businesses, in terms of how can they export our knowledge, whether it's consulting services or capabilities.
Other products and services.
Correct.
What do you think the obstacles that the small business enterprises face in exporting the products and services to the foreign countries? Exports is probably, as I understand, is about 22% of our GDP, which is fairly large. What obstacle do they face in exporting their products and services to foreign countries? And the relationship in some cases with the foreign country that we export our product is not reciprocal either.
It's not.
So it's and I don't mean to bash China, but China is a good example that our relationship with them is not reciprocal. What would you do to make sure that we can provide the opportunities, a lot of opportunities to the small business enterprises so they can export their products?
So let me talk about concretely the United States signed a trade agreement with South Korea.
That's a free trade agreement.
It's a free trade agreement.
You're absolutely right.
And so what are we doing to maximize that now, right?
Exactly.
To go both ways. Are we having enough exchanges and business meetings where businesses from Korea comes to Northern Virginia, or Northern Virginia delegations go to Virginia? We have to have this ongoing engagement, not just these major show and photographic events, but really where you connect business persons one-to-one, so that way they can meet and exchange and provide services to each other or connect each other to other people within their communities. That's concrete. That's where we're going to grow the small, medium-sized businesses.
Well, I think you have articulated your case extremely well. I want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
For coming to the show.
Thank you.
I also want to thank you for your leadership. And if somebody wants to reach you, in addition to your webpage, how do they contact you?
Well, I will give you my direct cell number, which is 703-470-4864. That is my direct cell number. So if I don't pick up, please leave me a phone message or even text message me, because I want to make sure that I am there to support our community and to represent our community. But more importantly, please vote November the 5th.
Oh, I think he has said it very well, and I hope all of you go to the voting booth and do vote regardless of who your candidates are. This is how the democracy in America is all about. It defines the landscape of America by a voice and your vote. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Frank.
And good luck to you as you undertake this new and solemn journey.
I look forward to meeting down in Richmond after I win.
Very nice. And this is our show. This is Frank Islam from FY Investment Group wishing you a great week. Thank you very much for watching.